Hello, and welcome to BW Live. After that bag of wank and technical issues our end, I'm not in the best of moods. But you're all there, and it's nice to see you. How are we all? Welcome to BW Live, the Everton Arsenal game. Not happy. Not happy at all. Really annoyed, in fact. But hey ho, there we go. We've had technical issues as well, Lana. Danny, if you're in the box, I've sent you a WhatsApp message. Can you take a look at it, please? First in the box was Thomas from Norway. Then there was Gooners 73, Alan Craker's there, and 235100. Who else is there? Grant Wilborn, Simon A, Thomas McClement. Sorry, I've got to scroll down here a bit. I do apologise. Again, the 93 I've mentioned. Oh, hell, you boys are chatting early doors, aren't you? 49 Unbeaten is there. Danny, the GFP, is there. Hello, everyone. Richard Garrett's there. How are we all? Hope you're as annoyed as I am. Really annoyed at the moment. But never mind. Let's get on with it, is it? We've already had a donation. The magnificent J Rob piled in with a £5 and says, "I'll miss the show, people. Got to work, but I'll watch it later." Were they all on the beer last night before the game? Poor performance. See you later, people. I think you got a point there, pal. I think you've got a point. It was a great big bag of wank. Unique 79 has just piled in the donation. Bland, flat, and terrible Bergkamp Wonderland. You are correct, Unique 79. We are rubbish today. But joining me, we have the magnificent, the one, the only, Ellis Mel. How the devil are you, El?
All right, fresh off between, well, I wouldn't say fresh, that's probably the wrong word, between nights at least, but hopefully my performance will be a bit more awake than Arsenal's. Also, just to add, Yvonne also put a €2 donation in there saying, top 4 chance blown, god damn it. I don't think it's quite blown. I think we're still in the race. It's very tight. Could have been better, but hey-ho. That's how things go. That's football, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, there you go. Thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne, J. Rob, and Unique. You're rock stars. We really appreciate it. And you do cheer us up. Lana's trying to join us. Unfortunately, we've had some technical difficulties with Lana at the moment. Danny, look at it, please, if you can, mate, because he can't do it. It's just me and the boy wonder. Yeah, so here we go. Lineups. We started off. The announcement came through playing Guendouzi and Elneny in the middle of the park. Aubameyang on the bench. I mean, that's good head in the middle, but were you concerned by that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, as soon as I saw the lineup, I was surprised. I know Aaron Ramsey sort of had a bit of a knock against Newcastle, so you can potentially see where Emery's coming from. Maybe give him a bit of a rest for the big game against Napoli soon. But that is what the Europa League does to you. It gets these congestion fixes. The further you go in the competition, you start stretching yourself, and you've really got to focus on one or the other if you're fighting out for a top 4 battle or for this Europa League trophy. So I was a bit surprised to see them both in there. Like you say, both got beautiful hair, as my mum would say. But in terms of sort of their technical ability and their ability to sort of control a midfield, no offence to obviously Guendouzi, who's been fantastic this season, but he's still learning, he's still young. And as for Elneny, you rightly mentioned as we were chatting whilst we were waiting for Lana that he hasn't had much action at all. So to chuck him back in at Goodison Park today is asking a lot from him, really. I'm not his biggest fan. A lot of people probably know this, but you could quite clearly see it from the outset of the game that those two were struggling to control the midfield. They weren't doing great against the pressure that everyone put on them. And as for the other two sort of attacking midfields, I'm sure we'll come on to, they were next to nothing really there in terms of their contribution. They didn't really contribute at all. So it was quite frustrating. And I think, like you say, when you look at that formation or that team selection, I think our worries were apparent really and quite easily to see during the game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Like the game started off with an early chance cleared off the line by Jagielka. Okay, but there's a lovely movement. Lacazette, Ozil, and Kolasinac involved. But Kurt Zouma comes across as Lacazette has crossed the ball. He clearly takes Lacazette out. How is that not a penalty? How? Somebody fucking tell me, how is that not a penalty?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, this literally, I missed the game just because I woke up on my night shift and came in and I just saw Lacazette roll on the floor. Didn't realise, it didn't show the actual replay, didn't realise it was in the box the tackle was. And you think, I think the commentary were trying to say he's taken the shot and then he's get wiped out, but it's still a clear contact foul in the box. So I think we're very unlucky not to get a penalty there, other than the rest of the game where we didn't really do much. That was a clear chance and we wiped out in the box. I know he's taken the shot, but it's still a foul in the box, and for me that should be a penalty all day long, but clearly that wasn't to be the case with the referee today.
We'll get to the twat Kevin Friend later, to be honest with you. I wasn't too bothered about him first half, thought, but second half displays a different kettle of fish. That was really frustrating. He's wiped him out. It doesn't matter if the ball's gone. He's gone through him. It's a clear foul. It needs to be a penalty, okay? It's one of those things where you look at it and you just think, Zuma's got away with one there. It's a certain yellow card and it's a penalty. Then we have a short corner straight afterwards and another dog shit short corner, mate. I mean, I don't know how often we're going to keep on with these. It's just pathetic, isn't it? We're wasting possession all too often.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's not just corners, it's a lot of the set pieces today were just not good enough, really. A couple of times today, I think it was Ainsley Maitland-Niles, a couple of times just threw the ball straight to him. And it's frustrating because set pieces, and we don't seem to really take them serious enough. I think earlier in the season we were creating some chances from set pieces, getting some goals, but today they were next to pointless. You might as well have just given the ball back to Everton. These short corners weren't really working. Even when we're putting the balls into the box, it didn't seem like our players were really wanting the ball, trying to win the headers. There was a couple of times when I thought our own players, Mkhitaryan at one point and Mustafi at another, should have been favourites to get the ball, but didn't. They just didn't seem to want it as enough as Everton, and vice versa when we're defending set pieces. But it's just frustrating. I know a lot of teams probably don't like set pieces. For some teams, we've seen it in the past, can be quite useful for them to get goals. It's one of their bread and butter. So for the guys that have got a lot of big people in the box who are good in the air, we don't really have that in our team. But you feel like we could be a bit more ruthless with them. But today, certainly not just from that short corner, but constantly throughout the game, set pieces were just woeful.
But to be honest, I mean, if you with what the ball players we've got in the team, with the likes of Mesut Ozil, with the likes of Henrik Mkhitaryan, if you're going to bring up Socrates and Mustafi, these guys are fairly decent in the air. They've scored. We should be able to work opportunities. But this nonsense of playing it on the right, these short corners when there are two or three players around them, they know what's coming. We don't work it properly. It just seems counterproductive all the time. We're not even giving anybody a chance, are we?
Agreed. And they just seem to, when they play these short corners, they sort of fanny around with it in that sort of corner there. They don't. For me, I think if you're going to play a short corner, it's just to try and catch the opposition off guard. So then sometimes, try and work it in, try and do a bit of skill and get past the player and drive into the box. But for me, sort of 8 or 9 times out of 10, just whip it in, play it short. The players that are defending sort of on their toes a bit, and then just whip it in, curl it in. Your players are still going to be in the box, and just gives the defender something to think about. But again, today it just didn't happen. They sort of fanny around with it on the edge of the box and either lose possession or just put a shit ball in. It was frustrating, really.
And then let's move on. I'm so annoyed. I'm sorry, chat box. I am effing furious. No change there, to be fair. Then we get the Guendouzi yellow card. It's a silly challenge on Digne or Dine, whatever his name is. But it was a definite yellow, wasn't it? He sort of sold himself down the river there, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And you can see sort of he's left his studs in on him. So he's going to get a yellow card. I think personally, I think a lot of that was from frustration with the penalty shout that we had earlier on, and you've seen that a bit in Guendouzi's game. He can get a bit sort of frustrated, hit up, and a bit agitated, and unfortunately, that's going to come with his sort of youthful exuberance that he has, and it's frustrating. But like we were mentioning earlier, we really haven't got an option in midfield with Torreira out for suspension, Xhaka who seems injured, and Emery decided he'd rather rest Ramsey for the first half. Guendouzi's got to play. There's no other option there. And unfortunately, with his sort of young youthfulness, he is going to sort of make these mistakes. And that's just the way it is, really, with Guendouzi. The only way he's going to get better is by more experience. The more experience he gets, the better he'll get. Ooh, are you there? Jason?
El?
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you now, pal. Hey, if you're in the chat box, can you hear us? This is all on Tits Up.
Jason.
Can you hear me, mate? El, can you hear me? You're on mute, pal. Lana's there as well.
Hello.
Hi, are you okay? I don't know what the hell's happening here. Right. Fabrice, Joshua Page, thank you. I do apologise, guys. We've had technical difficulties, as you can see, and I don't know what the hell's going on here. But let's try to get this back to normal. Right, we are joined by the wonderful Lana. Say hello, Lana. Lana,
hi.
say hello.
Hello,
right. So we're halfway through now. We're about to come up to the goal. I'm going to come to Ellis first, then to you, Lana, on this. We get we give away a throw-in, edge of their box. Dignes takes the throw-in. He does put his foot over the line, but we're being pedantic if we blame that, even though it should have been spotted by the linesman. But we don't clear it. Elneny is the first man in on the challenge, gets beaten, ball comes down. Everton are first to it. There's 2 or 3 players are going to be first to it, and Jagielka scores. How poor was that?
Very poor.
Well, go on, Lana, go on, crack on.
It was very, very poor. If Premier League had VAR, that would have been, he had been forced to take it again, because that should have been disallowed right away. But unfortunately, the Premier League doesn't have VAR this season, so next season. But it was just like they were all over the place. There was no one there, man marking him, and he's such a prick as well. I mean, it's his first start since last year, and the way he celebrates, he thinks he's like Messi and Ronaldo, and I was like, yeah, Arsenal should have done so much better there.
Yeah, I mean, we had, and there was Nacho, there was Socrates. Nobody's getting to it, are they? I don't know what was going on there. I don't know how, we didn't clear that. But to be fair to the Everton players, they were all over that, and they deserved the goal. Al? Right, now we got problems with Ellis's buddy. Oh, Jesus wept. Lana, talk to me about that again. I mean, how disappointing was it that none of our defenders are first to that ball? And I'll try to get them.
Yeah, but there was no one covering him. And I was like, where's Socrates? Well, I know where Mustafi was. He was not in his position, as he's normally not. So I was like, there was no one covering him. He was like free to roam at the back there. And for me, at one point, it also looked like it was offside, but I wasn't sure because I haven't seen the replays yet. But you might have seen the replays. It did look like it was offside when the ball comes back to him.
No, not really. I thought that I was just disappointed. I mean, it's being picky with. Look, Digne's feet are over the line. It shouldn't be allowed. But we'll have got away with that one in the past, no doubt. I was just more disappointed with the way we defended it. We've been really, really good on defending corners throughout throughout the season. We've only conceded 1 goal, and then this from a throw. You know, I mean, we should have been at it a bit more. So it was really, really frustrating, wasn't it?
It really was.
You know.
But they were like in the first half, they were all over Arsenal. The immense pressure from Everton, it just like the midfield was struggling to, keep intact with the pace and the intensity from Everton. But then again, you have a midfield pair that shouldn't even be on the midfield, in my opinion, and they were struggling to keep up with the way Everton was just pressing all over the pitch.
Well, this is the thing. My next note is actually they hardy us. Nobody's helping each other out. That was really disappointing, wasn't it? You know, I mean, the way we saw instances of there's nobody showing for people. I'm going to pick on 2 players here because I thought today they were fucking shameful. Mkhitaryan and Ozil, they were just hiding at times. There was no out ball for anybody. You know, they didn't help them. I know Guendouzi and Elneny were poor, but they didn't really have an out ball at times. It was really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Ozil on the pod a lot. I know John is a huge fan of him, but he was really poor today. I mean, I think that applies for everyone, but he was in a game where you'd expect him to shine because it's a small team, and the whole hype about him never showing up against big opposition. You'd expect him to show up against Everton, but I said way back that Arsenal was going to struggle against teams that are fighting relegation, and today was proof enough that they have to play better if they want to secure top 4.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, we 1-11, we weren't really up for it today. I thought even our better players were poor today, and it was really frustrating. One of the things that did annoy me, first half, was there was a challenge from Calvert-Lewin on Leno from behind, and Kevin Friend just ignored it. He came from behind him. He did win the ball, but he clearly hit the keeper on the way through. That was the sign of things to come, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I felt sort of Everton being the home side and me obviously being a massive biased Arsenal fan, that they were getting a bit more rub of the green from the decisions from the referee, and it was frustrating. They seemed to get these sort of niggly kicks, and they were leaving legs in on our players. Mainly Lacazette, for me, was getting a lot of the sort of the little late challenges from the Everton players, and the referee just wasn't seeing it, or just choosing to ignore it and thinking it was okay. But when it was the other way around with our players, he was sort of getting in their face and telling them not to do it. I know a lot of I'd say all of our bookings that we got today, especially sort of Socrates and Mustafi's, were fair. You can't really, and Guendouzi's as well, you can't really complain at those. But I felt that Everton probably got away with a bit more than what we did today on the balance of play.
Yeah, they got some soft fouls and were allowed to get away with it a little bit, but that happens at home as well. To be fair to Goodison Park, it was right up and behind. You can tell they're on a resurgence. It's one of the great old grounds, and they were at it today. The crowd were. So, it does influence referees. That's the way it is.
But Everton were as well. Like, I think the way they pressed is the way they were getting away with it, because they've got so many players around the ball, and when we lose the ball, there's only a couple of Arsenal players there trying to win back. It's very obvious when we commit a foul, whereas if you've got 3 bodies around one player, it's hard for the referee to really differentiate what player has potentially fouled them or if they've won the ball or not. So I don't think he was that bad, personally. The referee, anyway.
I will come to the second half anyway. Lana, Socrates yellow card on Calvert-Lewin, no complaints. He's not taking one for the team. He's panicked a little bit, but Calvert-Lewin has got pace, as we saw later on in the game. But now the yellow card, too much ban. He's out of the Watford and Palace games. What were your thoughts?
I thought he was dumb, to be polite, because I thought the mistakes he did, like, for someone who's experienced, who's played in big games and knows to think, which isn't a common factor for Arsenal defenders. It was just so shocking. It was like, as you said, he didn't take one for the team. He just seemed so fed up today. I don't know if it's a combination of everyone not giving, not caring, or just they're having an off day. But it just like everyone you expected to step up and to be a strong player today just failed gloriously. And it was just a shame because you could just look at him. I mean, when he committed the foul as well, it was like, I don't care about the consequences. And it's going to cost Arsenal now.
It's his second, ban of the season, which I'm no Socrates fan, okay, as everybody.
Really?
I know.
Surprising to hear you say that.
But I mean, look, I just think he's bang average. Okay, I really do think he's bang average. I think he's lauded for being. Oh, he's a bit physical at times, but that was really disappointing. We're struggling anyway. You can't rely on Koscielny because he's coming off a massive injury, and he's done really well. Koscielny has, but we don't want to break him again either. But
what I will say in Socrates' defence is, I think in the past we've been critical of our defenders not really making those sort of cynical fouls, and we all know Socrates isn't blessed for pace, and most people know that Calvert-Lewin is a pacey player, and
he is. If
he's not made that foul and Calvert-Lewin runs in behind in a shed load of space and goes and puts the ball away in the back of the net, we're going to be very critical of Socrates for not at least making the challenge or doing something. So I think, yes, I agree with both of you on the point that it did seem quite nonchalant, that he didn't really care, and he is known for being one of those sort of players that will sort of stick a foot in and likes a bit of the dark arts. But in his defence, I think we'd be just as critical if he didn't even make a challenge at all.
No, that's fair. That fair comment. Sometimes you're in your own situation, aren't you? I tell you what, there's a few people from other clubs in here today, isn't there? They're all having their little moment. Good to see you better come and speak to us for that, guys. Your teams are a bit pathetic. I see Romelu Lukaku in there. Who the fuck are you, mate? Fucking twat. Sorry, let's get back to this anyway. So, to be fair, first half, we show zero cohesion. We are pretty poor in all fairness, aren't we? Lana, you must have been thinking, what the hell is going on here? Because, even when we did get hold of the ball, we couldn't catch it, could we? We couldn't keep it. We couldn't dominate anything. In all fairness, Everton were working harder than us, weren't they?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a lot of football this season, and I think this has been the most shocking performance I've seen from Arsenal, and I've seen a lot. I saw the run game, but it was just like Everton were kicking them off the park, and they never seemed to recover after that. It was just like, the way they, went with the ball, the missed passes from Arsenal, and just they couldn't keep hold of the ball, and Mesut Ozil not stepping up when you expected him to just let down the team, and they just struggled so badly, and it was a shame because I fully expected them to be able to recover in second half, but it was just more of the same of what we saw in first half.
Yeah, it was getting frustrating. Then you saw Leno save from Sigurdsson. I think it was probably the first save he'd had to make of the game towards the end of the first half. But it was the sign of things to come, wasn't it?
Yeah, certainly. I think for all the sort of possession and times that Everton had the ball, they didn't really create that many clear-cut chances other than obviously the goal that they had. And I thought they probably could have tested us a bit more, but that was obviously the first test, and I think Leno did well to make the save there. He's been one of our key players this season for me, Leno, certainly, for the amount of saves he's made in games. But it was just the way, I think they got the goal, they got their tails up, and it was just a case of Arsenal just weren't really at the races today. Like Lana's mentioned, Everton were first to those sort of 50-50 balls. They were working hard. They wanted it more than the Arsenal players, and it was quite obviously on the pitch. And one of those chances again, Leno did well. But I think, to be fair, Everton probably should have done a bit better, really, with the chances they got. And we could have easily, if we had a bit more quality and did actually make some good chances for ourselves, and we could have easily come out of a draw, considering how well sort of Everton played. They didn't really make the most of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. To be fair, they've been so much on top in that first half. I was surprised they went 2 or 3 up. It was really, really shocking. Right, it's that time of day again, people. We got a load of idiots from other clubs in here. Yeah, look at them. That's sad. They've got to come in here for their shits and giggles. It's a bit pathetic, really, isn't it? But there you go. That's what these people are like. There's a spud in there. He's not being disrespectful, but he wasn't born the last time they won a title. It's whoa. Hurricane 17. How are you? I don't know what you're trying to insinuate there, mate, but it's time for you to go fuck yourself. Take care. Ta-ta. Goodbye, you pathetic little wanker. Yeah, right, sorry. It's that time of day again, people. There's 288 of you watching right now, and you're starting to behave like the Arsenal today. Yeah, I've only got 45 likes. Only 45 likes, really. Really. You're like Mesut Ozil hiding in the middle of the park there, can't you? Come on, you're letting yourselves down. You're letting Unai Emery down. You're letting everyone down. Stop it. Be good to yourselves. Show a bit of backbone and start tapping that like button, people. Let's go. I expect 100, too sweet. I'm not being funny, guys, okay, right? There's fans of other clubs making you look like mugs in there. They're making you look like mugs, and you're accepting it. If you're going to carry on like this, we might as well just all give up. It's pathetic. Come on. Get going. Richard Evans, I'm from Armanford. Where are you from, fella? Get on with it. Start tapping that like button for crying out loud. Second half, Elneny and Kolasinac leave the pitch, thankfully. Ramsey and Aubameyang come on. We saw an instant impact, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Also, check the chat box. Yeah, instant impact.
Well,
Danny has a message for you. I've put something in our chat as well.
Right, thank you. I have no idea. Sorry, carry on, House.
Yeah, instant impact. Like, we had a chance literally from straight after kickoff, another chance from Ramsey, who potentially should have done better. But first chance on the pitch, you can't really blame him. Yeah, it was an instant impact. It had, for me, the changes had to be made. I was surprised Guendouzi stayed on with his yellow. I thought potentially he may have been the one to make way, but obviously with Emery, he doesn't seem to like Elneny because he's not played at all hardly this season, and even when he does get his chance to go in, he's come off at half time. But the changes had to happen. That midfield of Guendouzi and Elneny wasn't really controlling the game. Everton were putting the pressure on with us winning the ball, and they couldn't really create anything. And you could see it straight away. As soon as Ramsey came on the pitch, he's been sort of like one of the players of the season with the way he's come on and impacted games this season. And he did it again. He got the ball, he played past players, he drove through midfield, he created chances. For me, Aubameyang didn't really make that much of an impact other than the fact that it's Aubameyang and players are going to worry about him. But Ramsey, for me, was the telling impact on that game. And we started off well, and I thought potentially we could maybe get an equaliser, but obviously that wasn't to be the case.
No, absolutely. Lana, then we saw the impact of Ramsey. We counter-attack. Jordan Pickford, instead of fighting in the bar, actually makes a save. It comes back out to Ramsey. He puts it over. He should have done better there, shouldn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He should have done way much better. But then again, Arsenal did start to play better as well when he came on. He's been the extra piece of magic, basically. When he's on the pitch, Arsenal's just a whole other team compared to when he's not. But he should have done much better. I just rushed into it because he had the time to make a better shot at it, but it just went over.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. We expect better of him, but it's one of those things. Isn't it? Then we get a Gomez foul on Ramsey. He finally picks up a yellow card on that. We were starting really to get into the game. We were starting to dominate the game. It was nice to see finally, wasn't it? Because it had all been Everton up until that point.
Yeah, definitely. They completely controlled the first half, and it was nice to come out in the second half and look like we had a bit about ourselves. Like, again, we mentioned the changes were the key point and it affected it. But it started to fizzle out, really. As the game wore on, the chances we started to make started to be less and less, and it got a bit rushed. When trying to rush the ball up there wasn't really enough movement. And for me, I think the change of Iwobi for Ozil should have come a lot sooner. Or for me, I probably would have taken off Mkhitaryan, because for me, it was awful today. But we shouldn't really single out too many people, because there's a lot of players that didn't play very well today. But for some reason, on my viewing of the game, Mkhitaryan just seemed to, every time he picked up the ball, he was misplacing passes. His link-up play with Maitland-Niles on that right was little to non-existent. The only sort of effort I can really remember him, or any sort of impact I could see from Mkhitaryan, was that curling effort a little later in the second half. But today it just didn't happen. And I think maybe if we had Iwobi on a bit sooner, we may have created a bit more. It's hard to say, because Iwobi hasn't been great either. I just thought the attacking players, although we came on and the substitutions were very positive, there was a lot of attacking players on the pitch, didn't really create anything. I think that was just purely the lack of sort of control we had in midfield for me.
Yeah, I think the difficulty for Emery is, though, and I'm going to defend him a little bit here, in coming up to that point. Do you know what I mean? Mkhitaryan had shown some good form recently. Iwobi's form had dipped a little bit, but today, I mean, Mkhitaryan and Ozil were utterly embarrassing. You know, for 350 grand a week to turn up a half a dozen games a season, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. It is, and you know, they've got to sort it out. He should, you know, both of them should take a long, hard look at that tape today, because it was absolutely awful. I got a fucking spammer in the box. You twat. Sorry, people. This is a live show. And Bobby Octa, you're an absolute wank stain of a human being. Take care. Goodbye. Adios. Fucking. Yeah, I've only got 64 likes here. And have you seen the crap you got to put up with? Seriously. Seriously, people. Start hitting that like button, because I'm not happy. I'm not happy. We got spammers, we got spuds, we got United fans in there, and you're not hitting that like button. You're an embarrassment to your parents. This is not right, and you need to start getting on it. Lana. Right. So we saw, you know, the almost zero impact that Mkhitaryan and Ozil had in the game. You know, we know Elneny is limited. Guendouzi was kind of shackled, you know, from the early yellow card, but that was no excuse for the way he gave the ball away. Our performance started to look brighter, but we just weren't creating those clear-cut chances, were we?
No, you weren't. And as Ellis said, too many attackers just makes it, you know, not enough balance in midfield for the midfielders to be able to create the chances to, you know, to send out to the attackers, so they'll be able to score. And I feel bad for Guendouzi, because he's a lot like Diaby. He, you know, gets fouled a lot, and because he's so tall and lanky, the ref is, you know, just gonna let the opposition get away with it. So today I feel like, you know, he just got battered left and right, and just got too much stick, both from our fans and just the opposition. So please be nice to him, because he's still young. He has so much to learn, but I think he's done really well considering his age. And obviously he is someone who's trusted by Emery, otherwise he wouldn't be playing. But he should have done better, and he just needs to step up a bit more.
Yeah, look, I've got to be fair to Guendouzi. I got a lot of time for him. I like him as a player. But if you're going to play in that Arsenal first team, you know, you've got to produce. And to be fair to him, he wasn't alone today, was he? There were, you know, 1 to 11, we were awful. Even people like Nacho, you know, were off song. It was quite frustrating. El, I wanted to talk about Bernd Leno. They weren't difficult saves, but he made an awful lot of saves today, didn't he?
He did, and like I mentioned earlier in the show, he's been one of our sort of unsung heroes. I think he's quietly been getting on about his business. He's making big saves and big games, and I think obviously today, without him in goal, we may have been 2-0. Everton may have killed off a bit sooner. He made some good saves, was getting there, some good punch clearances as well, and it's frustrating really when you've got someone between the sticks who looks like a really good player, who is by all accounts a match winner, or at least saves you a few points every season, and then we haven't quite got the quality in attack or in midfield to build on that. And it's frustrating because, like I said, if you've got someone there who's going to save you points, you just need someone at the other end to get goals, and it just wasn't happening for us. But if you're going to pick one positive out of the game, I think Leno would probably be one of them.
Yeah, I thought he played really well today. I didn't think much of the back three. I didn't think much of the rest of the team, to be fair. I thought, Lacazette worked hard as usual. I thought Ramsey made an impression when he came on. It was just frustrating, wasn't it? It just really was frustrating.
Yeah, all over the pitch. That wasn't good enough, really. I know I've sat there and I've sort of lambasted Mkhitaryan, but across the pitch, there wasn't a...
Yeah, it was difficult, wasn't it? Lana, we saw Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I thought he had a decent first half, but second half he struggled, didn't he? All of a sudden, he was giving the ball away. Things weren't just coming off for him. He seemed really, really frustrated.
It was like two different players. I was like, is that his twin? Because he looked completely different from how he performed in the first half and then came on in second half, and it was just, the way he gave away silly balls, conceding fouls, and it was just shocking. I was like, what happened during those 15 minutes at halftime for you to come out being worse than you were? Not that he was that bad, but everyone was bad today, but he just got worse as the game went on. And at one point I was like, I almost choked because the way he was supposed to clear the ball, because Everton was about to score and make it 2-0, but then, Leno came and saved the day. But it was like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what to say about it at the moment. I'm disappointed. The really frustrating part is, we didn't really test Pickford, did we? We didn't test Pickford at all. We never dominated that midfield. It was embarrassing. It was, when you look at the likes of, £500,000 goes out the door every week to the likes of Mkhitaryan and Ozil. And today their performances are shameful. And you got the likes of Leno who's putting it in week out. And okay, we had an off day at the office, but I was really, really, really disappointed all around. We're going to go to questions in a bit, but it's how do you sum up that game? How do you sum it up for yourself? I got people in the chat box here defending Mesut Ozil. I'm thinking, fuck all about football. Fuck all about football.
Don't say that. Don't listen to him.
Sorry.
He's very grumpy. Don't let him mug you off.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when people are defending Mesut Ozil's performance today.
Yeah, but they have opinions and they're entitled to them. Just because you don't like him, that doesn't mean...
No, I love Mesut Ozil, but I love Mesut Ozil when he's playing well.
I'm not saying you don't like Mesut Ozil. I'm saying just because you don't like the opinion doesn't mean it's wrong. Come on.
It was. He was awful today. He was shit.
He wasn't good.
He was awful. I'm sorry, okay? Mesut Ozil was an embarrassment to football today. He hid in that midfield, and he didn't want any part of it today.
I don't think he quite hid. He could. It's just Mesut Ozil, isn't it? It's the conundrum. A lot of people, there's people out there who love Mesut Ozil and he can't do any wrong, and there's also people out there that will pick at him for every single mistake he makes. I think today he was just part of a very averaged poor performance across the team. Like we said, there's only a few people you can pick out of actually playing well today or having any positive impact, and certainly Mesut Ozil wasn't one of those players. I mean, I saw him on the ball a bit, but he wasn't really creating much, and that's what you want from Mesut Ozil. And if he's not creating, he's not doing his job. And unfortunately today, he didn't do his job. I thought he was better than Mkhitaryan, but he certainly wasn't anywhere good enough. I've just got it in for Mkhitaryan today. I'm very sorry. He just was every time I saw him, he misplaced the ball. At least when I saw him as Ozil, he was dropping into midfield and trying to make stuff. It just wasn't happening because there wasn't enough midfield runners for him.
Yeah, it's one of those. Lana, I mean, I got to be honest with you. As much as we blame the players, I thought Emery got his team selection wrong. I thought, it was a big ask for Elneny and Guendouzi. Elneny's hardly played all season. Guendouzi's still 19. You're going to Goodison Park. It's a tough place to go. And, I just think Emery's got it absolutely wrong, and he needs to take his fair share of the criticism today. What were your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was more of a show of lack of respect from Emery with the way he put out the team, because it was just arrogance, thinking he can walk into Goodison Park with that starting 11 and walk away with the result. And in the end, we saw that Arsenal lost. So I thought he should have done much better with the team selection. I genuinely think that Ramsey should have started the first half. If he was worried about any reoccurring injuries, he could have taken it off at halftime. But I would have rather seen him start with Guendouzi than Elneny.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. Do you think he had one eye on the Napoli game?
Yeah, I think so. But then again, you play Watford first, and then you play Napoli. So
no, it's Napoli, and then
Napoli.
After.
Yeah,
Napoli Thursday.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the Champions League. That's why.
We're not in that competition.
Star, hopefully you will be coming next season. But obviously I think he did. But then again, if you're going to think about every upcoming game, I mean, you're just going to be risking it. The game you're playing, you have to show the opposition the respect they deserve. And today that cost Emery badly.
Yeah, I do agree. Loki73 is just one social media. And he states, Emery could have put on Elvis for Ozil and we wouldn't have noticed the difference. Correct. He was fucking rubbish. And this is the thing. I love Mesut Ozil. I genuinely do. I want all our players to do well, but today it was awful. We've had technical issues, guys, so the questions we did have, I don't know, they're gone. They're just gone. So it was thing. Alex Iwobi came on in the game for Mesut Ozil, and he made an instant impact. And he's had a tough time recently, but it was nice to see Alex, attacking Everton and really giving them concerns, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, I would have liked to see him come on a bit sooner, either for Mkhitaryan or Ozil, because those two for me just weren't doing enough today, and I wanted someone to maybe just run at the defence and try and make things happen and have a bit more zip in their step. And Alex Iwobi's certainly that guy. Like, he's frustrating because he probably doesn't get enough goals or assists for the position he plays in, but he's certainly improved under Emery this season. And again, his form has taken a slight dip. If anything, like you said earlier, Mkhitaryan's form has been above Iwobi, and he should be in the team above him on merit. But today, it just didn't show, and I think Iwobi needs to come on a bit sooner. He made an impact. He was running at players. He was trying things. He can be frustrating because sometimes I think he tries a pass when the pass isn't on. He'll try and pass through too many defenders. And he did it a bit today. I thought he worked well. Like, he did really well, I think, when Walcott came on, got into the corner, and he was trying to hold it in the corner. Iwobi dispossessed him and came out of the ball. And again, he's another frustrating, typical sort of Arsenal at the moment. I can see flashes of good stuff in him and then flashes of bad, and he's just not quite got that consistency yet, but he's certainly made an impact. And potentially, I think if he come on soon, we may have threatened Pickford a bit more.
I've got to be honest, I've got a couple of people in here, trying to defend Ozil. I've got one question for you guys. Lalu, Ekobasui, all you guys, do me a favour, tell me what Mesut Ozil has contributed to the Arsenal this season other than the Leicester game. Give me something, defend him, because if you can give me anything he's done today on the pitch that's contributed towards the team, I'd love to know about it, because I can't see anything. And even last week, he was pretty awful and got plaudits for nothing. I thought Iwobi did really well today, and he came on and he had a go. Lana, does this just show how much we miss Xhaka?
Yeah, I think he gets a lot of stick for some strange reason. People, just because he didn't cost a lot of money, like Jorginho did at Chelsea. He's not good enough. But I think that he's been a very, very crucial part of this Arsenal team. Alongside with Lacazette, I would say they've been the player of the season. Sorry, Ozil fans. But I just think that he has been really good. I think he's gotten a lot of stick over the last, years, and it's nice to see him growing into his role in midfield and also sort of becoming a leader, which you didn't expect at the beginning of the season. So it's really nice to see him just proving everyone wrong and, giving them the finger. And he was sorely missed today, obviously. And I think had he been on the pitch, it would have been a different outcome. Arsenal wouldn't have been kicked off the park, as I'd like to call it, as much as they did. It would have been more control in midfield compared to Elneny and Guendouzi.
Yeah. Socrates is out for the next 2 Premier League games. Watford away, Crystal Palace home. What are your thoughts on that?
Worrying. I know you're not Socrates' biggest fan, but I rate him more than Mustafi. To think that for those 2 games, especially Watford away, Crystal Palace home, I'm not too worried about. As everyone knows, we've got a brilliant home record this season. It's still on the road where we really struggle. I know we've improved from last season, but it's still in realistic terms quite poor. We haven't kept a clean sheet away from home yet. So not to have one of your first choice defenders for a run like that is worrying, to say the least. And again, I'm not sure Koscielny, what his fitness will be like, if he'll be back in time for Watford and Crystal Palace, hopefully. In a slight positive spin on it, if you can, it means that we can play him against Napoli. And if like what we've theorised, that Ramsey not starting is for Napoli and Emery's team selection has been with Napoli in mind, at least that gives him a player who can definitely play against Napoli and has to rest essentially because he can't play in the Premier League. So that gives us an option defence there. But yeah, it is worrying. We're at that period in the season where the games really matter. They're coming thick and fast, they're congested, and we're going to pick up injuries, and to get a suspension isn't helpful at all.
Yeah, if we're talking the group before the game, and every game from here on is a cup final. We finally get ahead of the Spuds in the league. They go back up, but we had that game in hand, and even a draw today would have seen us finish above them. But no, we couldn't even do that today, could we? Lana, Aubameyang, he had very little impact on it today, did he? It was difficult to watch Aubameyang today. I mean, to be fair to Laka, he worked hard, but didn't get a shot on goal. You know what I mean? We would really struggle today. What's going to happen going down the line? Because why do you think the reason for him, Lacazette and Aubameyang struggling was today?
I find this struggling to watch Aubameyang every week. That's just me. I just think that Josh mentioned it, I think, a few weeks back, that they just seem to be, suffering low on confidence right now. And it sucks when both of them do it at the same time, because usually if it's Aubameyang, Lacazette would be able to step up and, vice versa. But right now it seems like they're both struggling for some strange reason. And it's evident that when they struggle, the attack also suffers, and you won't be able to get the best out of them as you usually do. So today I was actually very disappointed with Lacazette. I had expected him to really step up and lead the team, and it was kind of almost felt like a failure seeing him struggle the way he did, because I thought he should have been way much better. And I rarely criticize him, but when I do, it's harsh.
I think that there was a difficulty. I mean, Mkhitaryan was ineffective. AMN's second half, he really struggled, the poor bugger, and he's been in really good form the last few games, but he really struggled. There was nothing coming through from the middle of the park until second half when Ramsey came on. Kolasinac had one of those games, and it was right that he was taken off, but we couldn't get any pairings linked up, could we, El? We just fell apart, and to be fair to Everton, they outworked us, didn't they?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was a point towards the end of the game when Calvert-Lewin, who has worked his ass off the whole game, was out sprinting our defence to get to the ball when he had no right to get there. Like you said, they just wanted it more than us. It was quite clear to see. It seemed like the boys were out last night on the beers and they're a bit hungover, and Everton were fresh from it, which you wouldn't have thought, really. You'd have thought we've been quite fresh. We've gone for that sort of pre-season game in Dubai, and it didn't show today, quite frankly. Like you say, there wasn't enough sort of partnerships on the field. Aubameyang came on and made little impact at all, really. Lacazette worked his arse off, but wasn't really getting any fruit from it. He wasn't really getting enough support. He was having to come too deep to win the ball. The guys in midfield weren't really having enough support. Like I mentioned, Ozil did seem to drop back and get the ball, but the midfield runners just weren't there. There was no cohesion, really. And I think we've been in this sort of formation with the back three and the wing backs, and it's worked really well. And we've not really diverted from that in recent weeks. And again, it's been successful for us, so why would we? And today Emery diverted from it, went to a back four, and we just sort of lost all that sort of attacking impetus from the wing backs. You could see Monreal was trying to get forward, but then it was leaving us a bit exposed. Maitland-Niles probably had one of his poorer games, which is a bit harsh to say, but he's young, he's going to make mistakes, he's not going to perform at the sort of peak he has been performing at, and it showed today. There just wasn't enough from the guys. It didn't seem like a lot of effort. For me, the only one who was really playing for the shirt was Lacazette and Ramsey. And for it to be Ramsey's mental. This guy's leaving in the summer, and he's playing more for the shirt than the people who are going to be here next season, or should potentially be here next season if they're not sold. And it's frustrating. We've got to that point in the season where, like you say, all these games are cup finals, and you'd think they would feel like that to the players, but it definitely didn't show today on the pitch. If anything, it was a cup final for Everton. They far performed us. We didn't deserve a result here. We were lucky enough to still be 1-0 down and still have a chance, but even in the dying minutes of the game, we didn't really create anything. It never looked like Arsenal were really going to get a chance. We had a late corner, which we didn't put a good delivery in. We had a free kick again, which we didn't put a good delivery in. It was just frustrating all round, really.
I think the tempo was set from the beginning of the game. That initial team selection cost us. We didn't get forward in that first half. We didn't really threaten them at all. Other than the sort of the penalty shout for Lacazette, we were inept. We were impotent. It was awful, and it was really frustrating. So, that said, Lana, Josh asks, BN Josh asks, that's our Josh. That's Ginger Josh Daw, the man of the people. And he asks, was that one of those performances that we see every season that is the rocket up the arse we need to go unbeaten for the rest of the season?
Well, just seems that there's been too many of these performances every year that you sort of hope that as new seasons come on, you tend to, cut down on them. But are you really surprised over the performance? It's just such a typical Arsenal performance. They beat United and perform well, and then they just go and beat Rennes as well in the Europa League, and then just go on to lose against Everton. It's a classic. It's typical, to say it the least. I wasn't really surprised, and you'd hope that with the players you had, that you avoid these sort of embarrassing defeats.
Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is, we started off with three at the back. The only times three at the back has really worked well this season, I'm saying worked well, and I'm going to get loads of pelters for this now, has been when you've had Ramsey and Xhaka in the middle. Because when you've played other pairings, we've looked awful. We've looked bang average, to be fair. And I think, it's frustrating, but I just think that if Unai thinks he's going to play 3 at the back with the likes of Elneny and Guendouzi in the middle and play good stuff, good football, he's delusional. He gets the credit when we win because he deserves it, and today he gets pelters because that was fucking awful. Ellis, question from Junior Gunner, and he says, Ellis, do you feel we should really go all out to take the Europa League seriously, or try to consolidate top 4, or try to achieve both these goals at the same time? What are your thoughts, Al?
Of the 3 options, for me, definitely not the third. I think if we try and do both, like seriously go for both, I think we'll be stretching ourselves a bit too far. I don't think with the injuries and suspensions, we've got enough in our squad to do both. I think Napoli, that's a big side. They're in the Champions League. They're in that group of death, weren't they, with Liverpool and PSG? And did they beat both at Naples? I think they did. I might be wrong. Did they draw with PSG? Lana will probably know. They're a good team. Their position in Italy and Serie A, I think, is all but pretty much safe. I think they got top 4. Then they're too far off to challenge for Juve for the title. And I think the players are behind. Yeah, and I think are they 4th with whoever's behind them's got like 15 or 12 points? I might be wrong.
They're 2nd with Inter 3rd. If the Napoli loses tonight, Juve are crowned champions. Okay, so,
but in terms of them finishing outside the top 4, it's very slim chance, isn't it, in their league?
Very, unless they go on to choke it gloriously.
So for them, they've pretty much got top 4 sewn up. Their sole focus is going to be the Europa League. So I imagine they'll put out quite a strong team on Tuesday. And for us, we've got both. We're fighting on both accounts by all means. But for me, to answer the question from Junior Gunner is... Sorry, just happened to that. For me, we've got to go for top 4. I think that's the more realistic option. I think we'll struggle against Napoli, I really do. And if we get past Napoli, we've got the two strong Spanish teams. And Spanish teams have been, well, how many times have they won the Europa League in the last 5 or 6 years? I think they've won it the last 5 or 6 years, haven't they? So they're strong teams. So it's going to be a difficult run. And for me, the best way back into the Champions League is to consolidate our place in top 4. It's going to be difficult. It's very close, but I'd definitely go for the league position to try and finish in top 4.
Fair enough. I totally disagree there. I think you should go for both. I don't think Napoli are that great. I don't think any of the teams left in the Europa League are that great, to be fair. But
don't say that. Don't say they have Ancelotti. You just jinxed it.
Yeah, cheers, Jace.
I'll tell you what, we're going to beat Napoli home and away. Okay, there you go. I just said it now.
And if we're not going to beat
Naples, we're not. Look at us against Rennes and like our first games in the last sort of couple of games. They are not good teams. Napoli are a good, proper Champions League team, but they've dropped out.
If Emery's going to pick a dog shit start lineup, then he's going to get, then he's going to get beaten, isn't he? It's you can see on our best performances what our best lineups are this season. It's down to him to actually swallow his pride, pick these players, and go out there and win these games. And that's
but they have a good team. They have a really good team, and they have Ancelotti who does really well in Europe. So please don't underestimate them. Don't jinx yourself, man.
I've watched Italian football this season, and I got to be honest, all the games I've watched, it's bang average. Yeah. I really did. It was fucking awful. I got to be honest. It's nearly as bad as the fraudster league in Spain. Okay, Villarreal. Oh, fucking awful. Even beating Barcelona, that was poor to watch. But it's one of those things. It's down to us, but we can't afford any more performances like this. Richard Vincent asks, how many players do we need in the summer? I make it at least 7. Rich, I think if we get 4 coming in, that would be max. Lana, your thoughts? Lana's frozen. Sorry. Ellis, your thoughts?
I think 7 is, although I probably agree with him, we probably do need that many players. I think that's fucking ambitious. I don't think we'll get anywhere near that. Again, a lot rides on where we finish in the league, and if we get Champions League. If we do, we'll be able to attract the better players. We'll have a bit more money to spend. But yeah, I probably agree with Jace. I think if anything, we'll get 4. I think we need a centre-back, we need a centre-mid, and we need some attacking winger. Like if we get rid of Mkhitaryan and bring in a player who's a bit more better on the ring, a bit more pace, a better delivery into the box. And probably some cover at right back, if I'm being extra greedy as well.
Extra greedy? You are, aren't you? Lana, how many signings do you think we need in the summer?
2.
2?
Because every summer you say you need to sign this and this and that, and then you go and give Mesut Ozil 350k a week, and you just effectively just shut down every possible scenario of signing someone. I mean, realistically, you should be signing 4 to 5 players, but you're probably going to end up with 2, and that that's if you're lucky, because everyone knows you're desperate for players.
Yeah. It's quite obvious at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. I've got to be honest. Chakasaurus has just put Mr. Waffles in his box. It's one of those things. English arrogance. Mate, I'm as far from England as you can get. I ain't English, but there you go. Right, that's it for tonight, I think. We've had technical difficulties. We've had an awful game to watch. It's been an utter embarrassment today, has, but there you go. It's one of those things. It does happen. It's Una's got a lot to think about going forward now. We haven't got that many games till the end of the season. Got to make the most of the Europa League. Napoli, look, I'm not writing off Napoli, okay? I'm not. It's as simple as that. But we can beat them home and away, no problem. I think we've got the firepower there. Is Emery gonna be ambitious enough? That's the big thing. Because if you've seen some of our results recently, we've been good. Today he's gone with a weak midfield and got punished. And Mesut Ozil and Mkhitaryan are utter embarrassment of footballers. But there you go. What are your final thoughts on this, El? How are you looking at today?
I think the main word that sums it all up is frustrating. It's a big chance that we've lost in the race for top 4. There's a lot more to go. Again, we've got, on paper, the easier fixtures than the other candidates vying for top 4, but we have got a lot of away games, which is where our downfall is really going to be. A lot depends on this fixture coming up at Napoli. I think if we do well there, then hopefully that'll spur us on. I think, if anything, playing Napoli, hopefully will get the boys up a bit more than they seem to be up for it today, and then we can sort of build on this. I think this is a bit of a wobble in our top 4 chances, and I hope it doesn't get any worse and we can just move past it and get back to winning ways as soon as possible, really.
Okay. Junior Gunner wants us to answer his last question. And because Junior Gunner is always in the box, Mr. Waffles, what are you doing? Sycophantic little squids. Hey, Mr. Waffles, go fuck yourself. Take care. We're going to ask Junior Gunner's last question if I can find it. Lana, in the meantime, your thoughts on today. What are your final thoughts?
Frustrating, as Ellis said. It was really frustrating because I know they can do better. I know they should do better. And it's just so maddening how a team with, good players can just be so disappointing. That's all. I mean, you put so much hope on them to actually bother to show up in the same way that you care about them. But today they just didn't care. And it was really frustrating and almost kind of sad to see in many ways, I suppose. Because they're so close to the 4th, finishing, but they make it so difficult.
Yeah, you shot ourselves in the foot today, haven't we? And it's just so annoying. We looked as if we lacked self-belief today, and that was really annoying. Junior Gunner's last question is, do you think all the talk from pundits and stuff on social media, which our players clearly see about our away form, has fed into the mental barrier for the players? No, I genuinely don't, Junior Gunner. I don't think that's the issue. I think today I think you and I got his selection wrong. And I think, we've paid the price. It's as simple as that. It's one of those things that's, it's we've shot the bed today, and that's the way it is. So we've got to get on with it, and we've got to get over it. That's the only way we can do that. These players have got enough quality in them. If you look at Mesut Ozil and you look at Henrik Mkhitaryan, they've got so much quality in their game. They should be putting up better than that. Even Elneny and Guendouzi, they're better players than they showed today, so that's frustrating. But we need to get back on there, and hopefully these guys, pull their socks up. We attack Napoli, get a win, and move forward from that. That's all that's left for me to say is thank you to everyone in the chat box. It's been a really interesting chat box today. Apologies for all the technical difficulties. It's just been a bloody nightmare. It has. But there you go. It's a live show, and that's what happens. Massive shout outs to J-Rob, Unique79, and Ivana Kofar. You're always superb, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you ever so much. It's fantastic of you. To those of you listening on other platforms, thank you for listening to us. Again, it's not been the greatest of shows. It wasn't the greatest game. It's just really frustrating. Mr. Waffles is awfully annoyed in there, isn't he? This is beautiful to watch. Oh, you enjoy, pal. You enjoy. To everyone, let's look forward to Napoli. Hopefully we can, we can come away with a win and, really set up the rest of the season. But that's all stuff to say is thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy your evening and have a good time, okay? All the best, people. Thank you very much. Good night.